You've just accessed Hardware is Forever, your source for the expert insights, ideas, and innovations you need to do more in the electronics manufacturing industry. From optimization to operations, join us as we put the pieces together for a better approach to manufacturing. Let's go.
Welcome back. This is Hardware is Forever. I'm Chris Bentliff, and Jay Patel is the CEO at Amtech, and Jay's leading an organization that is in the midst of high mix, low volume sort of, we'll call it transformation. But Jay, in that, and we've had a lot of discussions about a lot of different aspects of this, but what are the risks as I'm getting started or when I'm in it? What are the risks of downtime, and how do I mitigate that? What are some processes that I can start to adopt so that I'm not dealing with the unexpected, or I'm not expecting to deal with the hassle of downtime?
Yeah, I think we really need to understand why customers hire us, what problem we are solving for the customers. And once we focus on that, everything else is a waste. It's just not like, customers want us to build electronics. They don't pay me to move things around, because at the end of the day, they just want to get their product shipped to them, as we are a contract manufacturer. Customers don't pay me to have fancy conference room furniture or office furniture. They pay me to build electronics for them. So I think, once we understand why the customers hire us, then we can see, okay, where are the risks? Where is the downtime? Where is the non-value added time? And naturally, in a high mix, low volume type of environment, you're changing over a lot. We kind of alluded to this before and discussed it before, is when you're setting up a smartphone factory, you're setting that up, and that's going to be like that for 2 to 3 years, and nothing's going to change. And those machines and those people and that line and that factory is going to just be building that device. Where in our shop, we're changing over so much that time actually adds up to a lot of wasted opportunity to be able to service the customer. And the smartphone factory, they can take 1 to 3 months if they wanted to optimize the line and do all that kind of stuff. I don't know if they do it or not. Maybe they do it in a week. I'm not sure. But if they wanted to and they needed to, 1 to 3 months for optimization, yeah, I would. If you're going to be running that and building millions of products over a 2-3 year period, it's justified. For us, when we're running 50 or 100,000 products, 3 to 5 times a year, 1 to 5 or 1 to 12 times a year, the changeover really adds up. So we need to figure out a strategic way to reduce changeover. And that is part of what we call our tech stack, is what type of equipment do we have? What kind of processes do we have to support our equipment, which are both digital and quality management processes, to make sure that core processes to make sure that we reduce downtime, period. Because that is a huge opportunity cost of things not happening or getting paid for what our customer, getting paid for our value, that can easily add up. So we really focus on reducing the changeover time.
What are I love that you touched on your tech stack. What are some tools that can help minimize this, that can create faster changeover, and or tools that you've heard about or that you recommend?
So I think, one is you want to get equipment that's agile. Like you can unplug a setup and plug another one in and change it over very, very quickly. So that's number one. Number two is then training and creating an environment where when there is a changeover, it's kind of like a fire drill or a pit stop where people come in and boom, 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 they're changing over product, and you get the machine running again, which is adding value again. So those are the type of things that you really need to work on and figure out. Like throw resources at the problem or the downtime or the changeover to make sure that we're minimizing that as much as possible. And a lot of people have implemented different ways of doing it. Tool and Die has done it in a different way. Plastic injection molding has done it a different way. And everybody's just got to figure out their special way that is that industry specific and that value add specific to reduce that changeover.
And I would think then that that contributes to what kind of training do your people need to be able to adopt not just the new ways or the tools, but the purpose behind the tools or the value that the tool brings us? Like, what kind of training are you finding is necessary or valuable in this from a human perspective?
Yeah, I think, it starts with the vision first, and then buy-in from the leadership team, and then demonstration, and then people will learn through demonstration that these are the standards, this is how we do it. If something is taking too long to change over, we got to jump in and help out and understand why, put a preventive action in place. So I think, I don't know if this is necessarily a training thing. Training would augment it, but this is also, this is the standard. This is how we're going to do it, and setting that standard and setting that tone, so then everybody knows what's important, what's not important to us.
We talked last time about digital transformation, and this is a place where you might be able to study that. A data point could be your whatever time or however you want to measure changeover, and then you do something with that data. What are you experiencing? How is this going at Amtech? Are you in process of improving this? Are you still kind of going through your sort of core processes before you're ready to kind of dig into improving this, or is it too early, or what's happening there?
Yeah, so I think as we scale, if I could do it, I would be doing it right now. But as we scale, we need to build a leadership team around that and those principles and those points. And I think that's along with the core processes. We're building a leadership team who get it. Okay, this is what we need to do. This is how we need to change it. So then they can hold the standard. So we are working on it. Many things have been implemented. However, there is still a lot of room for improvement. Like I said before, we actually set up the lines offline rather than doing a work center type of environment. We create a line for the particular program or project or assembly. So when it goes into production, it's done quickly. So we do a lot of these things that are required to reduce changeover and optimize flow. But are there still gaps? Yes. And we're trying to figure out and fill those gaps. And we have things in mind that we want to do. It's just a matter of getting to it, burning through our backlog of improvement ideas to get to that point to be able to say, okay, yeah, this is what we need to work on right now.
We talked about several episodes sort of adopting HMLV, and I think last time you were really clear about are you ready for this? A couple episodes, you asked a good question. Is this what you're into? Part of what might be scary for me is, well, I don't have time. That sounds really great, but I can't take people off the floor, or I can't change this process, or I can't shut everything down for 3 days while we do this or whatever. Is it like that? Is that fear factor real, or is it not as complicated as that? Is the downtime that I could be experiencing, this isn't so much changeover, but just exploring that idea, is that a realistic concern, or is it not that dramatic?
Yeah, I think it is a mindset shift. And it is, there's never going to be the right solution all the time. Going to a high efficient changeover or HMLV or inline process, there's a lot of advantages, but it may not be as optimized as far as, utilization of machine or utilization of resources that we have. But you got to pick a method and go as far as you can with that method. And no, it's not going to be inherently perfect, and understand that there are going to be advantages and disadvantages. But at the end of the day, you have to pick what generically gives you overall gives you an advantage. And sometimes, having more downtime to set up for an inline process, at the end of the day, you may get the same amount of man minutes or man hours that is required to do it, even with the downtime. So yeah, your changeover may increase, but your production efficiency increases. So you are net zero. You didn't gain anything. You didn't lose anything. But now after that, the challenge is how can we reduce the changeover time to have an inline process and take advantage of the efficiencies gained with that. And that's another conversation. And that's the next level of optimization that's required. So you got to get the right foundational things that we talked about is 5S, core processes, equipment, and which is your tech stack. And then you start prioritizing what you want to do and start burning that backlog off.
It's interesting to me how often you say, well, I think it's a mindset shift. And that brings us back to conversations we've had 1,000 times around leadership. I don't know. Is there a reiteration or an emphasis to be made on your leadership team has to be on point with this? And if it isn't, why would you? But clearly, this is a place where this isn't for the meek. This is an undertaking, this whole thing. And you need to have confidence that you're surrounded by people who sort of get it. Yeah?
Yeah. And I think it's that much more important because the market speaks, and they speak very loudly. Like leadership is not something that's there because it's a fancy term or I should aspire to be a leadership. Leadership is there because that's what the market wants. Mm-hmm. That's what the market needs. And if you don't provide that type of leadership in your organization, the market will speak and they'll say you're not what we need right now, and we will make different decisions. So the leadership team must be tied into what the market needs. It is a necessity and not a luxury to have a great leadership team, because we need to be able to know what the market is saying, hear what they have to say, and change accordingly. Because if we don't, the market will change. So it all starts with leaders. It all starts with the team that you have at setting the tone. I don't want to say at the top, but they're the ones who are setting the initial tone of the organization. And then we create that culture, we create that accountability, we create that energy that the market likes, both on our customer side and our resource side. Both those sides we need to be able to be attractive to and listen to. And then all these things happen. Unless we do that, none of these things happen.
Jay Patel is CEO at Amtech. You're so generous with all this, Jay, with your expertise and your insights and your advice and your own experiences. We appreciate it, and I'm looking forward to the continued conversation.
Thanks for joining us, and a special thanks to our subscribers and followers. Consider becoming one today wherever you get your podcasts or on YouTube. Hardware is Forever is designed, tested, engineered, and built by the manufacturing experts at Amtech. Learn more and let us help you envision your next project with a free Design for Manufacturing assessment at buildamtech.com/DFM.